Michael Fox would send the pace question for Sean. Sean, having spent a few years playing for the Indiana Pacers, can you describe just how much a part of the culture of basketball is in Indiana?
You know, Indianapolis is a big basketball culture city. When Peyton Manning there was big on the coach, that's when I was there. But the fans is ecstatic. I had a ball there. Larry Bird drafted me 17. Shouts out to Larry. I love being a rookie there. I learned a lot from Ron Artest, Jermaine O'Neal, Steven Jackson, Jamal Tinsley, Al Harrington, Rick Carlisle. Played with some great people there. So just to be back on this court, seeing these same faces, I feel like that's a blessing. And continue to feed my family, that's a blessing.
Thanks a lot.
Well, in a game where it's more about first team to get to 50 over like beating the time on the clock, how do you guys prepare yourself for this Lee versus Lee game?
It's different. I mean, we break it down from tendencies first, trying to put guys in weaker positions than their strengths, allow them to do. So we try to, so for Rashad Lewis, for instance, we want to keep him turning over his right shoulder and keep him away from shooting wide open jump shots. I mean, that's his game. With Mario Chalmers, you want to take the tested shots, try to get over on top of the pick and rolls. And, with Reggie Evans, you want to keep him off the glass. So as far as preparation, I mean, we're coming in preparing for him as a team and individually.
I'm gonna piggyback on that because I think that follow up with what Coach said is, we got to learn how to play this style of basketball. We got guys who are, decades in of pros and played in the finals and tough games, but that don't necessarily follow up with this style of the big three. Mm-hmm. So, that's when, Coach comes into play and he lets us know that, do this, even though it's not technically the NBA style. So that's why it takes a couple games, and that's why you'll see, I think at the end of the season you'll see a lot of teams starting to get into the groove, and because they starting to learn this style is different than the NBA style. So that's pretty much what.
Especially being a point guard, for me, it's like you're thinking about clock management, time to score, but it's just the 50 points is kind of different. Just takes some adjusting and getting used to.
Sheena Quick with Fox Sports Radio. This question is for any of you. You guys led a really, really balanced attack today. Would you say that you're one of the more balanced teams in the league, and where do you see that fitting in as the season goes on?
I think we found it ourselves. I think that's what we're doing. We're starting to become and find out, starting to play together, but not only play together, but just found out, like I said just a little bit ago, how to play this style. And I think that's what, as we go, keep going, I think we'll keep getting better.
I feel like Josh said, Josh Smith told us he didn't draft his team for him to play. He had to play the whole game. That means he didn't do his job picking the right players. So that just says he has a lot of confidence, in us. And I feel like we have a balanced team with a lot of mismatches on defense and on offense. Because if it's a mismatch on defense, quite sure it's going to create a mismatch on offense.
What's really funny is that you would think that because everybody's played for so long that there's not a learning curve. There is a learning curve to playing Big Three basketball, half-court basketball, with the end game being 50 points. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I thought we grew today as a team because we got an understanding. Winning teaches you stuff. You learn how to win. Winning is not just something that happens, especially when the rules are a little different. So I think that we have the ability to put a team on the floor that everybody can switch. We have a team that can post up and play outside. So yeah, your question was really on the money because we're a very balanced team that can attack from a lot of different ways.
Also, I guess not really to piggyback on that, but to just mention you guys have played two weekends in a row where you had pretty sizable leads. What can you do going forward to maintain those leads?
Well, that's kind of what we're talking about. We lost two of those games because we didn't understand how to win. And today we saw how we have to play to win. Because if you paid attention to the game, we were on our way to the same scenario. Yeah. Right. Called a timeout. We looked each other in the eye. We tried to make them understand what it was that we have to do to finish the game. Time and score is usually in an NBA game is like 5 or 6 minutes left in the game. Here it's about 40 points. So that last 10 points, right around that time, is when you really have to lock in on what's going on in the game.
Turn into playoff ball.
Yeah.
And then if you're in the penalty, it's make it, take it. So it's different. It's different. You definitely got to lock up more. It's about defending more without fouling with the last 10 points of the game.
Especially, you closed it out with a 3-point free throw, which is, unconventional. But, that being said, it is physical.
Yeah.
How much did you guys have to adjust throughout these first 4 weeks with, when it getting late in the game, if you foul, they get the one shot counts for 2 or 3 or maybe 4, and they get the ball back. How do you prepare for those late game scenarios but still keep like the physical intensity?
Well, the bottom line is that you have to understand the rules. And that's kind of what I was saying, that we learned a lot about what we have to do now. Because at late game scenario, it's better to even give up the layup than the foul. Because if you give up the layup, it's just 2 points. If you give up the foul, it's the bucket and the ball back. We had a big lead, so the only way they can catch up is if they keep the ball. And it's funny because on every level, from a coaching perspective, it never changes, because you still have to make the players understand what it is and who they are and how we can win the game. Because everybody's doing their thing. Everybody has something they can bring to the game. Everybody can shoot, everybody put on the floor, everybody's a player, everybody's played in the big dance. But it's got to be different here. You have to understand the rules of the game and understand what we need from 35 to 40 points to the end of the game.
Jared Solero, Big 3 News. This question for Will. So it seems like as the game went on today, it got more physical, more chippy. How do you feel about the physical nature of the Big 3 and compared to the NBA?
I mean, it's a big difference. I mean, I'm not one to complain. I just kind of try to adjust to it, and hopefully, become just a little fair out there. But I don't mind it being physical, just as long as it's a line drawn of that physicality. Other than that, I'm pretty good with it. They say they're gonna add the 5 seconds so you can't just back down, but I didn't see it being called today. So they said they're gonna add that the next upcoming game, so that should help a lot too.
Yeah, the referees have a tough job.
Yeah, it's tough.
Because 3-on-3 in the park is really physical. And it's supposed to be physical. It's because it's close contact. So the referees have a very tough job of walking that line of what they let go and what they don't. Because if they call every foul, the game would take 3 hours. So, it's tough, because when you get the calls for you, everything's good. But when you don't get the call or it goes against you, then it's a problem. But their whole thing is about balance. If they can just call consistently the tougher fouls and the more obvious fouls, then I think that we're okay. I think everybody here accepts the fact that it's physical and that they're going to get hit.